mail ça qui c'est fanclub zafem à commercial gmail.com.
N'importe monde qui remplit conditions yo ka participer dans concours ça qui baptisé la ligne à cadence soleil comme pour un hommage à petit album ça qui c'est la ligne à soleil qui mani va garantir son crédibilité concours qu'a bien la donne yon série figure publique dans monde qui tirer l'haïtien parmi yo Tamara Suffren, Raoul Denis Junior Ditira, John Wesley Delva à Clément Belize dit Keke qui maniga santé profiter pour des précisions sur processus sélection trois gagnants yo qui a fait sous base publique là à appréciation même jury yo.
On est capable de choisir n'importe musique sous album là. Donc nous pas une musique qui est bien définie pour nous dire là, mais qui s'accueille. Premier niveau vote là, il y a deux aspects là-dedans. Il y a vote public là qui c'est 60%. Le like, comment et puis partage. Et puis 40% de juge. Maintenant, 5 personnes qui ont plus de votes, donc le ça, c'est juge même qui a bien 100% de votes 5 personnes. Qui va dire, mais qui est-ce qui est premier, mais qui est-ce qui est deuxième, mais qui est-ce qui est troisième, et ainsi de suite. Alors, premier qui s'accueille, premier prix,
On rend compte que une identité, une bonne unité, une bonne institution que l'État mettait sous pied, il y a un pile loi qui le regarde, forme de ça. Et un pile loi anticorruption.
Il pas dit Conald.
Ou bon, voilà, Commission nationale de lutte contre la drogue, c'est une entité ou tout. Mais en dépit de présence entité ça, en dépit de l'adoption de toute loi, et ça, donc, ouais, Haïti n'a pas touché la question de corruption. Haïti, comme se dit toujours, pas conseillé. Mais pourtant, ULCC, c'est comme moi d'où, c'est institution par excellence à nouvelle corruption.
His fall from power is the latest turn in what has been a tumultuous few months for French vulnerable position from the start. Snap parliamentary elections in June left the National Assembly without an absolute majority. Macron will address the nation on Thursday evening. He's expected to appoint a new prime minister very quickly, potentially as early as this weekend. But any new face will come across the same challenges as Barnier in a divided parliament. A political deadlock which looks set to continue, as France can't hold new parliamentary elections before July next year.
The group of leftist parties that make up the largest single bloc in the National Assembly tabled the no-confidence vote that was supported by the far right. Well, France 24's Clovis Casali earlier spoke with Nathalie Ozoil from the far left, France Unbowed.
The French government has been toppled by this vote of no confidence, pushed by your bloc, Nathalie Ozoil. You're an MP for the Hérault in the south of France, and you're a member of France Unbowed, the radical left party. Do you believe tonight that France is heading in uncharted waters into uncertainty?
Well, first, today is a historical day because Michel Barnier and his government were ousted, toppled, because of the no-confidence motion we lodged with the New Popular Front and La France Insoumise, France Unbowed. So it is anything but an ordinary political fact. And so now we will measure the consequences of this, but it was inevitable. Since the moment Emmanuel Macron decided to disregard the results, the democratic results issued from the vote on July the 7th, well, Michel Barnier has always been an illegitimate prime minister because his party was got only 6% in the last legislative elections. So now it's time to have the voice of the people heard at last, because what Emmanuel Macron has done for months is never listen to the voice of the people. And tonight, this is the result.
The French President Emmanuel Macron, who has announced, his entourage has announced that he will be addressing the French people this Thursday evening. What are you expecting from that address?
I heard he might appoint a new prime minister as quickly as possible. But the thing is, you cannot just skip or jump from one crisis to another. Who's going to be the prime minister? It cannot be a prime minister from one of the parties who just got ousted tonight. This is not possible. This would be another provocation. Enough with Macron's provocations. He must now respect the democratic result and the voice of the people. And so what we say is he is the only person responsible for the chaotic situation in France, and he must leave. And tomorrow evening, Jean-Luc Mélenchon will address the French people as well.
Thank you very much, Nathalie Ozoil. The French president, who's already ruled out resigning, he says it's pure fiction, but he will be addressing the French people this Thursday with possibly the name of the next prime minister.
That's France 24's Clovis Casali speaking with Nathalie Ozoil from the far left France Unbowed party. She was asking who could be the next prime minister. Well, the president's options are limited, as he's not allowed to call another snap vote in the National Assembly until next June, 1 year on from the last vote. So he must pick from among the MPs already in place. Antonia Kerrigan takes a look at what options are before him.
In uncharted territory, Emmanuel Macron is under pressure to act fast. He could name a technocratic government to hold the fort until next July, when fresh elections can be held. Or he could reappoint at the helm of a caretaker government. But to move the needle at the Assembly, the president may seek new blood. The name Sébastien Lecornu has been on many lips. His political DNA is right-wing Republican, but he served as defense minister under Michel Barnier, Gabriel Attal and Elisabeth Borne, weathering many a storm and becoming part of Macron's inner circle. But how would he break the parliamentary deadlock? Then there's Bruno Retailleau, also from the Republican Party, appointed Interior Minister in September with a promise to restore order and toughen up on migration. His appointment will be a sharp right turn, but he might command the votes of those 125 National Rally MPs who have held the Barnier government to ransom. François Bayrou, on the other hand, president of the Democratic Movement and a staunch ally of the president, has been mooted as a centrist option. But can a member of the presidential coalition shift the balance in parliament? Or might Emmanuel Macron look left, Former socialist Bernard Cazeneuve is in the mix, a man who quit the party immediately when united with other left-wing forces for the 2022 elections and to denounce the formation of the new Popular Front coalition this year, a shift right that cost him the support of left-wing lawmakers. Lucie Castet, who is the new Popular Front pick over the summer, stands, in her own words, ready to govern. But the president didn't entertain the idea for long even then. Emmanuel Macron held nearly 2 months of talks this summer before appointing a prime minister, but an overturned government must leave, and France expects a budget by the end of the year.
Amid all the political turmoil, France's powerful unions have called for civil servants, including school teachers, to go on strike this Thursday because of separate cost-cutting measures proposed by their respective ministries. The actions will see many schools closing for the day across the country, along with disruptions at administrative buildings and hospitals. It will also lead to some flight cancellations going out of Paris and Marseille. On now to other world news, and South Korea's politics have taken so many twists and turns over the past day that the story runs even some of the famous K-dramas known for. It all began with the president declaring martial law, accusing the main opposition of sympathizing with North Korea. That was soon voted down by lawmakers who've now launched impeachment proceedings against Yoon Suk-yeol. They allege the whole thing was cooked up to avoid investigations into illegal activities that he and his family have carried out.
A candlelit vigil in Seoul continued the mass mobilization against Yoon Suk-yeol. Just hours after the South Korean president declared martial law, he was forced to rescind it, and his political future is on the brink.
Fortunately, we could stop him, but the thing is, still those who tried this crazy move, they are still in their seat, and until they step down, we don't feel we are safe enough.
These demonstrators are not the only ones who want to see him held accountable. South Korea's largest labour union has called for an indefinite general strike until Yoon resigns. And the country's main opposition has tabled a motion to impeach the president over what they called insurrectionary behaviour.
By blocking lawmakers' access to the National Assembly and allowing armed soldiers and police officers to forcibly enter the Parliament building, Yoon has committed the crime of rebellion, undermining the constitution.
To be successful, at least 200 votes, or 2/3 of South Korea's 300-member National Assembly, have to support the motion. A trial would then be held before South Korea's constitutional court. If 6 of the 9 met for it to be sustained, Yoon will be removed from office. It was a rapid backfire for the president. Yoon imposed martial law without warning on Tuesday night, vowing to eliminate, quote, anti-state forces. In a few tense hours, armed officers and army helicopters then surrounded Parliament. The country that was chafed under military dictatorship for decades responded swiftly to the bombshell announcement.